Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Are we going to be happier today?
So, lots of people commented that I saw
know.
in
They were
person
so worried about you.
Because I freaked out.
You did have a freak out.
Well, I mean, I freaked out a little bit, but it was not without,
Cause. Justifiable cause.
And I didn't have, and then we went away for our son's college orientation, so I haven't had time to fix anything.
Yeah.
So I currently have one of my GoPros that's trying to decide if it wants to join us today.
It's on the crutch at the moment.
Yeah, and then the other one is rolling, so we'll see how that goes if it keeps going.
Well, so just like full transparency, we are always working, and it is very, very, very hard to find that time to recharge. And it's, for instance, we're still catching up. We did go away for a couple days to our son's college orientation to Virginia. So we got back, and we're back at it, and we're trying to catch up. And you've got a business trip coming up, unrelated to real estate. So yeah, we're trying to cram all this stuff in. Hence, day old Amy. I'm just saying, it's day old. It's like day old bread, a little stale.
Nice.
Just saying.
No bearded Eric, by the way.
I know.
So I have to give a speech, and so I like this is dumb, but so I do healthcare training things, and I'm going to Idaho and I'm going to Iowa, and all the promotional material that they send to these clients, I don't have a beard, so I don't want to show up and be like, I have a beard.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I mean, in Idaho and Iowa,
that's a new
Idaho
place.
and Iowa, the beard would fit in just fine. It'd be fine. But that's not. They're expecting.
It's important.
Clean shaven Eric who looks like his mom, not bearded Eric who looks like Woodsman.
They're not looking like for day old Eric.
Yeah, exactly.
They want fresh Eric.
Yeah.
Anyway, so hello everybody.
Fresh.
We hope you are enjoying your Sunday. We are traveling. It's a little bit rainy and overcast today. We happen to be catching our drive crazy in the middle of rain, so we're going to hope that it stays this way, but you might notice kind of the streets have a little bit of water here and there. It was one of those mornings where, boy, I liked it. It was kind of dark. It was gloomy.
And let's be honest, over the last couple weeks, it's been hotter than hail.
Oh, my gosh.
It's been hotter than hail.
It has been hotter than hail. You're right. It was, seriously, it was.
But it's not cursing if it's with the southern accent.
Right, absolutely, because it comes from the hot. Okay,
hey, mother. Oh, wait.
No. Okay, stop. All right, anyway, so we are doing a quick little drive today. I think we're just going to kind of do a little bit of a market update as we head out. We're on Avalon heading toward Erlo Bronson.
We're going to go to Cagan Crossings.
Yeah.
So we're going to go past that, and we're going toward the KB community of Sanctuary.
Just try to drive around a little bit.
We have a client there. So we go out, if you have new construction, we go out and take pictures. And we've been traveling so much and doing all this, and I'm leaving.
Yep.
By the time I get to Phoenix, she'll be rising. By the time you're seeing this, I'm on a plane. So,
on a jet plane?
I'm leaving on a jet plane.
No.
Now, historically, I think John Denver wrote that song, but Peter, Paul, and Mary recorded it first, and then he did eventually. Okay. I could be wrong, though. He may have just recorded it, but this is all in my 10-year-old mind. Okay. I love John Denver.
Yeah.
Peter, Paul, and Mary, after what Paul pulled.
They're 10.
Anyway, so we're going to go down there, we're going to see. But I want to talk to you about just the market in general, but one specific thing I want to ask you about, because...
Ask me or them?
You.
Oh, okay.
To tell them.
Oh, okay.
To them through you.
Or you could just say it.
No, because you know and I don't really know. You deal with this stuff. So, we've had a lot of... So, interest rates are up.
Yes.
Construction times are slower. A lot of people out there that have contracted on new construction back when... We're at the point now when interest rates were already going up a little bit when people contracted.
Yes.
For the most part.
For the most part, yeah, correct.
There's a few...
stragglers.
That contracted with when it was 3% interest rates, and...
they're not liking life right now.
Yeah. So, but, it is what it is.
Right.
But... something interesting has been happening.
Yeah.
And I want you to talk about it, because not only is it just something I think people would be interested in that happens behind the scenes, but it's also an opportunity in new construction. So tell me about what's happening these days when a new construction contract cancels.
Gotcha. So when you first contract for new construction, keeping in mind that when you enter into that stage of construction can be varied. But let's just say that you started at the beginning, because I think that's kind of what we're referencing, right? Are these people that contract a long time ago, they're seeing the interest rates going, they're seeing the extended build times, and now here we are getting close to closing, and stuff is hitting the fan.
Yep.
Maybe their financing is no longer going to happen because they just don't have the same buying power that they had. Right. Honestly, it could be that life circumstances and situations have changed in this lengthy build period that they were not expecting. Happens all the time.
Yep.
So when these homes are nearly completed and they finally get that confirmation from the builder that either you have not qualified, your financing is not happening, or maybe you have had a life decision that is making you have to cancel the contract. That's what's happening. These homes are canceling right at the end of the build process, because generally people aren't canceling earlier in the process. The builder kind of makes you hang on until they give you the definitive, okay, no can do, bye, see ya. But by then it's toward the end of the build process.
Yep.
So there are homes that are nearly complete that are coming back on the market, but before they can officially come back on the market, sometimes we get the little inside scoop. We have some inside scoop of a beautiful home that has not officially canceled. And the reason they can't officially say it's canceled is because they have to do their due diligence legally, right? The builder has to, they speak with the buyer. They try to make things work. When things can't work, they have to give them the official default notice. It takes about a week for all of that paperwork to clear.
Right.
And then once everything is kind of signed, sealed, and delivered, at that time, and only at that time, can they officially publicly advertise it back on the MLS or back on their website that a quick move-in is available.
And real quick, just to touch on the timeline, and I just heard this because I overheard a conversation with you with the sales manager yesterday. So they have to give them notice of basically saying, get your self lined up to do this.
Correct.
And they give them 7 days to say...
Right. They give them that 7-day due diligence to make sure that they... One last ditch effort, one Hail Mary.
Yep.
And if they can't make it happen, then everything, it's going to be signed off on and it will officially cancel. Now, here's the detriment to a buyer. Also, potentially a good thing for another buyer that might be out there. So, let's just use a specific example that is happening right now. I'm not going to give you too much information on it. You'll have to call me because I can't say anything. But in this particular situation, there is a home that is going to come back on the market in a couple of weeks. I know how much those buyers paid for the home. They were not my clients when they purchased it.
They paid yet. But
the builder has reached out to me to tell me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one, but not many people probably know.
You always get the first call.
I get some good inside scoop. They say that there is a specific floor plan. I have all the information, the home site, the community, and I have the pricing. And that's key, guys. Because if within the next 2 weeks, this private little inner circle of knowledge, if we can slide another buyer in, if I have another buyer that is potentially interested in sliding into that contract, they will sell it at the original contracted price, which, by the way, is substantially different, about $100,000 different
$100,000
than when they are going to, if it does officially go active again, like let's say I don't have anybody that can buy it, or they don't find somebody to slide into the process, then that means the home is going to go back on the market and it's going to be increased to kind of compensate for where the market has now taken us. So at the moment, I can sell that home or get someone lined up to contract on that home for about $100,000 less than it's going to be in 2 weeks.
Yowza.
That's the inside scoop. Nothing else different other than changing with the market and the community and the price increases and the things of that nature. Do you want to go to Cagan Crossings?
No, keep going straight. We'll talk about it. Although I don't have that. That's my formatting camera, which is still formatting.
Okay.
But
do you want me to go to Cagan or no? You said no, right?
You could pop in there and around if you want, and then I'm going to keep going up.
Okay.
But the point of I was going to stop you and say this, when you hear Cagan Crossings, very often when we talk about it, we're talking about the community.
Correct.
That was which builders?
It was Meritage and Pulte, or Syntax.
It was Syntax.
There's a bug in here. I'm not freaking out.
Yeah,
there's a bug. There's a little gnat or something in here. Yes. Sorry.
It was Syntax and it was Meritage. And that community is kind of right
directly
back behind us now.
Right.
But Cagan Crossings is not the name of the community per se.
Right.
It is the name of the area.
This whole area, which this part.
Oh, I see. You're going to actually go to the community.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. I thought you meant to the shopping center. But just go touch it. Why not?
So this is one of those lovely four-way stops that nobody seems to know how to manipulate well. But I will tell you, so there's two entrances into this community. this is, I don't know. I don't think that they really consider this the front entrance.
I think they consider this the back entrance.
I do too. But, and which, with good reason, great reasons. You have Walmart, you've got Lowe's, you've got all sorts of shopping and fast food. It's a little bit busy right behind us, but super convenient if there's anything that you need. Like, we're talking truly golf cart up to Walmart, grab what you need, and golf cart back home. But it is gated, and I do believe this is the end one. So Meritage is sold out of here. Syntax has a few left. Syntax is a division of Pulte. But yeah, so the community is quite lovely. I mean, it's a nice little tucked away nugget, and I think it's a great location for being Disney, close to Disney, but not in the middle of the tourist short-term area.
Amy, as we pass the Syntax Sales Center sign...
Do you want me to go to the left?
I want you to go where you want to go.
Okay.
As we pass the Syntax Sales Center sign...
Yes.
I'll say that 3 times fast.
Syntax Sales Center signs.
You said it's a gated community, Amy, and yet we don't live here, but we drove right in.
We did.
How is that possible?
Because the houses are still being built.
Right.
So yeah, in most cases with new construction communities, during business hours, during build times, those gates are open during the day. And depending on your community and the HOA, what they've decided, sometimes those gates lock at 6 p.m., so they're locked like 6 to 6 or 7 to 7.
Yeah.
And I say locked. I mean, obviously, if you're a resident, you can go in and out. But it basically keeps the workers and the tradespeople from working after hours or before hours. However, they pretty much have the code anyway, so they could get in. But it does remain open until it is essentially closed out.
But Amy,
Eric?
Let's say that I bought into this community a year and a half ago.
Yes.
Have I been paying HOA dues for the gate that they never close?
Yeah.
That seems like something I would want to consider.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's true. Honestly,
you're going to pay it.
You are, and it's honestly, it's true for all of the amenities. There's some communities where the amenities are not completed yet, and you're paying HOA fees for those amenities for a long time before the amenities officially, are built. So this is the new set of models back here. They were originally on that main road right when we came in. But
and just to say it again, Syntax
is a division of Pulte.
Right.
Yep. And a lot of the builders kind of have. I wonder if that one ever sold, because I showed that too.
They can't see that, by the way, because my camera's still
That's
formatting.
okay. This is where I saw. What did I see? What were they? No. It was turkeys, wild turkeys.
Oh yeah.
And it turned the corner around that fence, and there was like, oh, what a little baby was. It was so cute. Anyway, but yeah, so a lot of the builders, in fact, most of them. Production builders, I should say. Let's clarify again. I speak in terms of where I live.
Yes.
Most of the builders, the production builders here in this area have different levels, not levels of their homes as far as how pretty they are, but just kind of, some of them have a luxury or a high end, kind of the larger square footage, only can be built on larger home site type series. Some of them have more entry-level homes where maybe the fit and finish is a little bit more builder grade. Not cheap. I'm just saying it's a little bit more builder grade. Like maybe you don't have the options to have, super duper upgraded
For me, it's always
cabinets or counters.
Baseboards is one of them. It's like the shorter baseboards, and then if you're in somewhere that's higher baseboards, you're probably in a higher level. Well, it's just one of the things that
it is one of the things, but usually the baseboards, honestly, is a structural option that you can choose.
Okay.
But to your point, if you're in one of those where you can choose, it's usually not the entry level.
Okay.
Usually the entry level, you don't have a lot of say so in that.
So let's go back.
Yes, let's go back. Let's go back to the road.
Well, go back to the road, but also let's go back to what we were talking about before, which is so the one. So in the case where you're talking about a home that right now you could get for $100,000 less than you're going to be able to get it for next week.
This way. I think I go.
You came in this way.
I did. Okay, good.
Because that house was under construction.
Yes. What? Beep.
Well, no, I think the thing is formatted now, so maybe I'll turn it on and we'll see.
Okay, you want to turn it on? You want to give people what they want?
Or it may have just given up. No, let's see.
Here, you want to give people what you want, though?
No.
Oh, could you do it from there? Oh.
No, it just didn't work. So.
Okay, cool. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about. Mm-hmm.
I'll try not to get angry.
Let it go. Breathe it in, breathe it out. Breathe it in, breathe it out.
Angry.
They don't like you when you're angry.
Okay. So in that situation, they're canceling the contract. What has happened to that buyer's deposit?
Okay, so this is a really good point. So contractually, your earnest money deposit is always at risk. The builders do not typically allow you to write a contract with a contingency. If they deem that you are pre-approved, then you're pre-approved. And if something happens, then you're sometimes out of luck. Right. Now, that's not always the case. I have had clients get their earnest money deposit back. But you have to go into it understanding that if anything happens, whether it's your fault or not, and you don't close on that home, that earnest money deposit is at risk. And I think to probably get to what your next point was, which is, don't put more down than you have to, because you're putting more down at risk. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, and so one of the things that, so my understanding, again, it's not our client that originally contracted on that house.
Exactly, right.
But one of the things I understand from hearing the conversation is this is something that was somewhat under their control. In other words, they contracted saying, I'm going to sell this asset and sell this asset to have the money to buy the house.
Correct.
And for whatever reason, that didn't get accomplished, right?
Correct.
So in that situation, the builder's going to say,
too bad, so sad.
You made a deal and you didn't hold up your end of the deal, so we're keeping your deposit.
Right.
Just to be clear, the builder's not going to reduce the price of the house by that amount because they're going to go, hey, well, your $50,000 deposit, we got to keep that, so we'll lower the price. No, they're just going to go.
Absolutely not. Because this is such a good conversation to have. Because
I'm so happy.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. A part of this is because and again, not our client when they purchased. Our understanding is that, candidly, they should never have been allowed to write that contract.
Right.
Everyone within the company is kind of questioning, how did they get to write this contract with those contingencies?
Right.
And here we are at the end. Even though they thought things were going along swimmingly, clearly they were not, because those assets have not been sold. But because that person was able to pick and choose design and structural options, it may or may not, and again, I'm speaking in generalities, it may or may not then be a home that is on the same level as the other homes in the community. So they could have upgraded or over upgraded, and that affects the overall sellability, potential.
So let me be a little bit promotional and say, first of all, like and subscribe to this video. We never ask that. We always forget because we're just talking to you. We're not thinking about the fact that it's probably good for our business to say like and subscribe, but also good for our businesses.
Call me.
Here's why you should call Amy. And so you've been in that house already.
Yes.
You got the call.
And
you said,
we were there.
I wonder if this would be suitable for client
I have already
ABC.
We've been texting before we started recording this.
And so the thing that you did is, in real estate terms, is we previewed the house. We went over there. Yeah. There's another reason why, which we'll get to as well. Mm-hmm. But that was the thing. By the way, it's Hoagie Fest right now at Wawa.
Fest?
It is.
Hoagie Fest? Are we going to get a Hoagie for lunch?
We could if you want. Anyway, I just saw the billboard. That's what a good realtor does. That's why these people that say, well, we run into a lot of people, and by the way, we love it when we hear this on a connection level. They're like, well, we found your videos after the fact. We'd already contracted. We love it on a connection level. The only reason we don't like it on a business level is you might have missed some opportunities.
Right.
Because somebody I'm not saying somebody's going to buy that house. There's an opportunity to buy that house, to essentially buy $100,000 equity in a house. I mean, it's one of those things where so many of these times we go in and I'm like, well, should we buy it? And we can't afford it.
So many times.
And
at
the moment we can't afford it. So, but it's one of those things where if you could say, if I could put a down payment on that house of $100,000, I'm making up the math.
Right.
And buy myself $100,000 equity, well, then I could turn around and sell it and make a $50,000 profit.
We think about that all the time. We've done that.
Yeah.
I
could make a $50,000 profit just for listing and relisting the home, and I just have to I have to pay the mortgage while I'm waiting. Right. But, I mean, it's just one of those things where someone else's disappointment,
their loss is
and you can profit on other people's loss. That, my friends, is America.
Okay.
There's a little bit of that's capitalism, and that's the way that works. So if you don't call Amy, though, there's a lot of people that are out looking for houses today that don't know that is an opportunity. Don't know it exists.
Exactly.
They're going to miss it.
That's true.
You're going to write it there.
Yes.
Okay.
There are people that are going to buy that house potentially, or could buy that house in 2.5 weeks.
Yep.
Where if they had called me now, can buy it for $100,000 less. And again, I just kind of want to go back to that too, just because it's good information to have again, is that so in that case, and I also want to mention this too. So builders are corporations. but there's also a person somewhere in there with a heart.
Yep.
Okay? So, in another situation, a very similar situation, somebody has had devastating health news.
Right.
And have had to cancel a contract. I'll get chilly bumps because that just makes me so sad. And in those situations, guys, the builder is a lot more...
They do what they can do.
That's exactly right. I am not going to ever say that the builder is going to give you your money back if you give them a sob story. That's not what I am implying at all. I'm just telling you that whatever you enter into when it comes to real estate, you need to understand it's a legal binding contract. It is always going to be worded very heavily in favor of the builder when we discuss new construction. But in most cases, if for whatever reason, you do not go through with this purchase of that home, your earnest money deposit is at risk. And back to one more thing, I promise. I'll be quiet. Back to when I said, that particular person, could potentially over interior design or under upgrade their home,
right,
which can be a problem for the builder, which is why they do have non-refundable earnest money deposits. Mm-hmm. And it's also why when you go to the design center, if you spend more than a specific threshold, usually 10% of the base price of the home, if you spend more than that at the design center, the builder requires an additional deposit, right, and that deposit can vary from 100% of the overage to 50% of the overage. Right. But the point
they're protecting themselves.
They are, exactly. The builder has to protect themselves.
If you want to put tiger stripe tile on your floor,
that is a
they
choice.
may not be able to sell that. So,
exactly.
So
where do you want me to go?
I want you to go up here and take a left because some of the new construction is down here to the left and swinging around.
Okay, do.
I want to say we're in Sanctuary by KB Home.
We are.
One of our
saying KB Home and not Homes.
Yeah, I get the S's wrong all the time.
No, you're correct. It's KB Home.
But so KB Home is
should be Homes.
But I ran into somebody that had bought a KB Home. Mm-hmm. And they said, and we're always so fascinated when people actually listen to what we say. But we had said, we don't talk negatively about builders. If someone's not on our channel, it probably means we don't recommend them, but we're not going to say that out loud. And they were like, well, and we never see KB on your channel, so that's not the case. Here we are at KB Home. Well, and again, I don't want that to be taken as a recommendation, not recommendation, whatever. But my point is, we've had lots of happy customers with KB Home.
Correct. Yeah, and I want to go back on that. Just because we don't have a builder on our YouTube channel does not mean that we do not like them. Okay.
Right.
That's not what
they just haven't had a community nearby us.
Or potentially there are some builders that really don't want realtors to come in.
Right, that's true.
And I, believe it or not, I'm a rule follower, and it matters to me very much whether or not I am videotaping a home and advertising it for them at the builder's request or with their permission, right, or if I'm doing it behind their back. And there are a lot of realtors that don't care. They just go in and they do it. And that I value my relationship with the builders, and I don't do what they tell me. I'm going to
be a little bit more direct about something though. There is one particular builder that advertises they do not want realtors involved.
That is true.
They tell their customers, you don't need a realtor. Then proceed to not give good warranties and do a lot of things where it'd be nice to have a realtor to explain that to you. But they actively say, we don't want you to have a realtor. They actively say to realtors, we don't want you to be here.
That's true.
And the way they do that is through, they basically say, you're welcome to have a realtor, but we're not going to give them a commission.
Yeah, the realtor gets no commission for being your advocate.
And then people also think, well, then their prices must be lower.
No, in fact, they charge you an additional fee that you're not really aware of.
So we're not going to get into who that is, but it's not KB because here we are.
KB. And look at all this additional growth out here. Isn't this great?
And I like this community a lot.
I do too. It's nice. So where Sanctuary is located. So when we first started and we were at Cagan Crossings, I always say that that's tourist adjacent because it's not right in the middle of the hubbub, but it is very close to the hubbub. So you get the benefit of the proximity to the excitement and the hubbub, but you're a little bit outside of it. And that area is not zone short-term rental. By the way, I'm making a U-turn because I'm not going down that road. And now we're a little bit further down the road. And now I feel like we're getting even closer to, going down 27, where we're getting even closer to the Wellness Way and the communities like Ridgeview and the Lake Louisa State Park and Olympus, where all of that is coming. Yeah. So we're kind of in between that. So, just as a proximity to where we are.
Okay, so now, anyway, and we have a client in here, which is why we're here to take pictures. So
we need to wrap it up so you can take
Well,
pictures.
you don't have to wrap it up. You can drive around the neighborhood a little more, but because I have one more question I want to ask you about the deposit thing.
Okay.
But I just want to point out that our client has the most beautiful lot, and it looks back to like a farm that's over there. Come on,
pretty.
it's so good. You guys, it's so good. Anyway, so as Michael Stipe from REM said, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight. Losing my deposit. No, he just losing my religion is the song. Losing my deposit. No.
Okay.
What if I'm losing my deposit?
Right.
What if I don't want the house?
Okay.
Or something has happened.
Right.
I could still. How do I preserve? How do I get my deposit back? How do I not lose as much money?
So
you know where I'm going here.
I do know where you're going here. Okay. So yes, in this scenario where you have the ability to close on the home, but life circumstances has changed your mind. Maybe it's a health thing and you're like, well, at this point, they're not going to give me my money back. So instead of losing a tremendous earnest money deposit, should you just close on the home and then resell it? And these are questions and situations that I have been in many, many times.
Yes.
I have sold many, many homes where the buyer, whether they were my buyer originally or whether they weren't, most cases they weren't my buyer originally, but then you want me to go back here just to keep driving?
No, just keep going go straight and find another street.
But in those cases where they have purchased the home and we then turn around and immediately put it on the market. Now, for instance, sometimes you're going to lose money on it because sometimes just in the course of the build process, you just haven't had enough time to generate enough equity to compensate for the closing costs that you're now going to be required to pay as the seller.
Yeah, and we won't get super duper into it, but 2 years ago, you could buy a house and things were going so fast that you sort of were buying equity right away.
Exactly.
So people could buy it for, let's say, $500,000 and sell it for $550
and still,
or $600 even.
Right, and profit
recoup their money.
substantially. Yeah,
now,
even after it, yeah.
When you buy the house, your own home is the best comparable. So when an appraiser or the bank says, hey, what is this house worth? They're going to go, one exactly like this one just sold just now. So that's the value of the home.
Right.
Now, there's closing costs, fees, all kinds of stuff that happens. That's going to eat into your profit. But if you've made so let's say it's going to cost you 5% to sell your house. 6% is, I think, that more like the average.
Well, there's more than that because you have this other costs.
Well, let's say it's 6-7%.
Okay.
But you put down 25%. Now we're in a situation where don't lose the 25% deposit.
Right.
List it, buy it, list it, and lose 6%, lose 7% instead of losing 25%.
Exactly, and
that's what we're getting at.
Yes.
Even 10%. We're talking about a $500,000 house. If you can save yourself 4% of that, you've saved $20,000. Yes, a little more hassle, but you've lost less money.
Right.
Is the point.
Exactly. So, worst case scenario, you lose some money, but you don't lose as much as your earnest money deposit.
Right.
So that's kind of worst case scenario.
Yep.
Medium range is that we find a way for you to break even.
Right.
Right? You get out of it what you put into it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
No harm, no foul. That kind of sucked, but, okay. And then the best case scenario is that not only do you purchase it and close on it, but even after selling it, you're still able to, to profit something, even if it's $5,000, but it could be $50,000. And, that's, people do that intentionally. That's what a lot of investors do. Yep. Sometimes they use them as rental properties, but, you'll see in all truth and transparency, when new communities open, you will see some investors that come in and purchase quite a few of them in a row sometimes.
Yep.
And, they do that because they're either going to use them as rentals or they also then see the potential reward in the equity as the home is built. Yes,
My
sir.
last word of warning in this situation is if you find yourself in that situation.
Straight again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Find the right realtor because you can find a realtor that will tell you, you bought this house for $500,000. I could sell it for you for $600,000. You'll make a whole bunch of money. In this market, they're wrong. Okay.
Well, they just need to show me the proof of that.
Prove it, and show me when you've done that before.
Right. And,
sometimes we go very hard up front with reality. We go very hard up front because candidly, we don't want to list your house and have it sit on the market, and you're paying this money, and
well, nobody wants to be disappointed. You're hiring us to do a job and to
no realtor wants to say to you, well, in this situation, you're going to lose $25,000.
Right.
But you're not going to lose $100,000.
Right.
Nobody wants to say that. They want to go, you're going to make a profit, and we're going to give you the honest answer, and that's better than lying to you and saying, we're going to charge you this, you're going to sell it for this huge amount, and meanwhile you're making the mortgage payments over time, and you're losing even more profit as you go.
And disclaimer, every single house and situation is different and unique. The point is, no matter how each situation is unique and, to its own circumstances, transparency is our standard.
That's what we do.
So if we feel like, hey, this is a great situation, I can't believe you bought the home for this amount, we can easily sell it for X amount.
Yep.
If that's the case, we're going to tell you that. But we're also going to give you sometimes the hard truth, because that's much, much, much better in the long run than feeling like the whole process has been a failure. So,
but if you want to buy $100,000 worth of equity, call Amy right away, because that's happening fast.
Yeah.
And I'm shutting up now. Goodbye.
Okay, well, we need to go anyway. But,
I got to go to Idaho.
Yeah. Idaho,
where potatoes grow. That's from our kids' childhood.
That is from our kids'
That's how Amy taught them about states. Excuse me.
Yep. Okay.
She had a whole song for everything, and that was Idaho.
Yes, it was Idaho, and they remember it. Anyway, all right, guys. So thank you for bearing with us. Glad we were in a little bit better mood, although the weather was in a cranky mood today.
That was her way of saying that I was in a bad mood last week.
Well, of course you were, and you had every right to be.
Because I had a beard. The beard was the source of my rage.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we appreciate you hanging out with us for our Sunday drive. We hope you are happy wherever it is that you are. It's a dreary day at the moment, but I tell you, it's Florida, so it's going to be bright and sunshiny here in just a few minutes. Hopefully this drive has lifted your spirit, whether you're enjoying it with your morning cup of coffee or with your evening cocktail, or if you're just bored, who knows, or whether you've already clicked off of it by now, because this is where Amy rambles. Anyway, we appreciate you guys. Please stay safe, stay well. Remember, we love you, and happy house hunting.